This week the standards we are unpacking are Standard 6E and Standard 6F. Standard 6E says examine the origins and events of the Civil War. Standard 6F says analyze issues associated with Reconstruction. For Standard 6E, the embedded concepts are that I should know how the Civil War started, and I should be familiar with the events of the Civil War. The embedded concepts for Standard 6F is that I should be familiar with the Reconstruction era after the Civil War and focus on the issues that arose during the time of Reconstruction. The critical content for Standard 6E is that I should know why the Civil War started. You had the South wanting to secede, the issues with slavery that originally divided the North and the South. You have Abraham Lincoln becoming president, and you have the whole case of Dred Scott. I also have to be familiar with some of the events during the Civil War, and so you have the Confederates versus the Union. You've got Gettysburg, the Gettysburg Address, Grant, who is the general of the Union, and Lee, who is the general for the Confederacy. You have Stonewall Jackson, the Appomattox Courthouse, of course. Some of the critical content for Standard 6F is the issues with Reconstruction. You have, first of all, Abraham Lincoln being assassinated, which then led to Andrew Johnson being presidency, and his presidency was very turbulent. You've got the Congress versus Johnson the whole time. You've got the Congress with the constitutional amendments declaring equal rights. You've got the Freedmen's Bureau, the Civil Rights Act, and Grant's presidency after Andrew Johnson's, and the Compromise of 1877. So there's a lot of information to go over for the Reconstruction and the Civil War. I have to know just more than this as well. For the key skills of Standard 6E and 6F, I obviously have to examine the causes and events of the Civil War. So I not only have to know what made the Civil War happen, but also what happened during the Civil War. I also have to be familiar with some of the issues with the Reconstruction. Key verbs are to examine and analyze. Those are highlighted. Some of the core tasks of Standard 6E and 6F is that I should be familiar with what led to the Civil War as well as what happened during that time or during the Civil War. So I have to be familiar with the main events. I should probably read various sources on the Civil War and specifically study the timeline that led up to the Civil War as well as the timeline during the Civil War. I should be able to know the issues that were caused during the Reconstruction, and I should study and focus on the issues that happened, of course, during the Reconstruction era. Here are some resources that I found useful. Just the overview of the Civil War is the first resource. Then I have an actual timeline that is before and during the Civil War, I believe. Just a summary of the Reconstruction, and here's another summary of the issues that happened during the Reconstruction.